Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We always talk about success stories, but today we're flipping the script.
Flipping the script,
We're
yeah.
looking at setbacks and how those failures can actually help us reach success.
I like that because so often we see failure as like the end of the road,
Right.
but maybe it's not the end. Maybe it's more like a detour, you know?
A detour. I like that. And to help us explore this idea, we're going to take a look at the stories of some incredibly successful people who, you might be surprised to hear, face some pretty major setbacks on their way to the top.
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating to me. These people, they didn't just bounce back from failure. They used it.
Used it.
Yeah, they used it as fuel to propel themselves forward.
Okay, so let's start with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba.
Oh, great example.
Now, this is a guy who built a global e-commerce empire. But his journey wasn't exactly a smooth climb.
Not at all.
Get this, he was rejected from over 30 jobs,
Yeah.
including KFC.
And not just rejected. He was the only applicant out of 24 who didn't get hired at KFC.
Ouch, that's gotta sting.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, imagine if he had gotten that job.
Right.
Would we even know the name Jack Ma today?
Exactly. Maybe that rejection. It pushed him toward entrepreneurship, toward creating something entirely new, something that was truly his own. It forced him to look beyond, the traditional path and forge his own.
It makes you think, how many of us are, clinging to a plan
Yeah.
that isn't really serving us? Maybe those failures, those rejections are actually nudges, pushing us towards something better, something more suited to our talents and goals.
It really challenges us to think differently about success,
Yeah.
to be open to the possibility that sometimes the path we don't take is actually the one that leads us to where we're truly meant to be.
All right, next up is a story that I think will resonate with anyone who's ever dared to, dream big.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter.
Oh, such a great example.
Now, before those books were flying off the shelves, she faced a mountain of rejections, like a literal mountain.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
12 publishers turned down her manuscript before one finally said yes.
12. Can you imagine the dedication, the self-belief it took to keep going after that many rejections?
Honestly, I think a lot of people would just, thrown in the towel after the first few,
Oh, absolutely.
let alone a dozen. But she didn't give up. And it makes you wonder how many brilliant ideas are out there just waiting for someone with enough grit to see them through.
And that's the thing. It's not just about having a great idea. It's about having the resilience, the unwavering belief to keep pushing forward, even when you're faced with doubt and rejection.
It's like those rejections, as painful as they might have been at the time,
Yeah.
became part of her story, part of what makes her success even more remarkable.
Absolutely. It highlights a crucial point. Rejection doesn't mean your idea is bad. It might just mean, it's not the right time or the right audience, or maybe it needs a little tweaking.
Okay, so we've got Jack Ma defying the traditional job market, J.K. Rowling facing down a stack of rejection letters.
Right.
Now let's jump into a story that really underscores how failure can actually spark innovation. We're talking about Walt Disney, the man who brought us Mickey Mouse,
Yeah.
and a world of wonder. But believe it or not, his path to success was anything but a fairy tale.
Yeah, he had some pretty rough patches.
He actually faced bankruptcy early in his career.
He did.
And get this, he was even fired from a newspaper job because his editor said he lacked imagination.
Isn't that ironic?
Talk about a major plot twist.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if those early struggles, those moments of, feeling lost and uncertain, if they actually fueled his creativity.
I think it's very possible. Sometimes it's those moments of hitting rock bottom that force us to be more resourceful, more innovative, that they push us to find solutions we wouldn't have even considered if everything had gone smoothly.
So we've got these three incredible stories, three wildly successful individuals, all of whom faced significant setbacks on their journey. Is there, a common thread that runs through these stories, something we can learn from?
Absolutely. I think it's about embracing failure as part of the process. These individuals, they didn't let their setbacks define them. They didn't let them derail their dreams. They used those experiences to learn, to adapt, and ultimately to create something truly extraordinary.
It sounds like resilience, adaptability, and vision play a huge role and turning those setbacks into successes.
You hit the nail on the head. Resilience is that ability to bounce back from challenges, to learn from mistakes, and come back stronger.
And adaptability is about being willing to shift gears, to adjust our approach when things aren't working. Kind of like what Jack Ma did when he realized the traditional job market wasn't for him.
Exactly. And vision, well, that's about having a clear sense of where you want to go, even when the path ahead is uncertain. It's what keeps you motivated and focused when you hit those inevitable bumps in the road.
It's like these individuals weren't just chasing success. They were driven by a deeper purpose, a vision that helped them navigate the ups and downs along the way.
And that's something we can all learn from. These qualities, they're not reserved for the extraordinary. They're within all of us. It's about cultivating those traits, about recognizing that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone.
So we've seen how these principles played out in the lives of these remarkable individuals. But I'm curious, how can we, the everyday listeners, apply these lessons to our own lives? What are some things we can actually do when we're faced with those inevitable setbacks?
That's a great question, and it's where the rubber meets the road, right? It's one thing to admire these inspiring stories from afar, but it's another to actually integrate these principles into our own lives, and that's what we'll delve into next time. So last time we were talking about how successful people, they don't just avoid failure.
Yeah.
They actually kind of use it to their advantage.
Yeah, and I think that's a really powerful concept. But, for us regular folks, it can be tough to know where to even start. Like, how do we actually turn those setbacks into something positive?
Well, I think the first step is to actually acknowledge the setback. Don't just try to brush under the rug and pretend it didn't happen.
Okay, so no more hiding from our failures.
Exactly. Instead, when something doesn't go as planned, take some time to analyze it, like really dig in and try to understand what went wrong.
So, like, what caused it?
Yeah, exactly. Was it something within your control, or were there external factors at play?
So, like, playing detective with our failures.
Uh-huh. I like that. Because it's really about asking those tough questions and being honest with yourself about what you could have done differently.
Once we've kind of figured out the why, what's next?
Well, then it's about taking action. But here's the key. Don't try to do everything at once.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that would be overwhelming.
Right. So instead, focus on small, manageable changes. Little tweaks to your approach, one step at a time.
So it's like those small wins, they can build momentum.
Exactly. And that momentum can really help you stay motivated and keep moving forward.
It's kind of like building a habit, right? You start small, stay consistent, and eventually those small changes lead to bigger results.
That's a great analogy. And just like, building a habit is easier when you have support, overcoming setbacks can be a lot less daunting when you've got a good team in your corner.
Yeah, the power of community, having those people you can turn to when you need a boost.
Exactly. So think about who those people are in your life. It could be friends, family, mentors, even online communities. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, and who can offer a fresh perspective when you're feeling stuck.
Because sometimes just talking it out can make a huge difference.
It really can. Sharing your struggles with others can help you process those emotions and maybe even gain some insights you wouldn't have on your own.
Okay, so we've talked about analyzing our setbacks, starting small, and building a support system. What else can we do to make sure those setbacks don't, completely derail us?
Well, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but try to, embrace failure as a learning opportunity.
Wait, so we're not supposed to feel bad when we mess up?
It's natural to feel disappointed, frustrated, even embarrassed when things don't go our way.
Yeah, because let's be honest, failure doesn't exactly feel good in the moment.
No, it doesn't. But what if, instead of seeing failure as this, big, scary thing, we viewed it as valuable data?
Okay, so like a feedback loop. We try something, it doesn't work, and then we use that information to adjust our approach.
Exactly. Every setback, even the ones that make us want to, hide under a rock, they contain valuable lessons.
So it's about shifting our perspective, right? Seeing those setbacks not as roadblocks, but as detours that ultimately lead us in the right direction.
I love that. And to really harness the power of turning setbacks into successes, I have one final piece of advice.
All right, lay it on us.
Visualize your desired outcome.
Oh, the power of visualization. That's a good one. How does that work exactly?
Well, it's about creating a clear mental picture of what you want to achieve. When you can really see your goal, it's easier to stay motivated, especially when those inevitable challenges pop up.
So it's like giving your brain a roadmap, a destination to focus on.
Exactly. Visualization helps you stay aligned with your goals, and it reminds you why you're putting in the work, even when things get tough.
So to recap, we can turn those setbacks into stepping stones by analyzing our failures, starting small, building a supportive network, reframing failure as a learning experience, and visualizing our desired outcome.
You got it. And these are powerful tools, And the best part is they're available to everyone. You don't have to be a celebrity or a CEO to harness this power.
It's inspiring to think that the same principles that helped those incredible people we talked about earlier, those same principles are accessible to all of us.
Absolutely. We all have the potential to turn challenges into triumphs. It's all about how we choose to approach them.
So we've spent this deep dive talking about failure. But really, I think we've been talking about success, haven't we?
I think so. I mean, when you look at those stories we discussed, Jack Ma, J.K. Rowling, Walt Disney, they all achieved incredible things, but they all faced some serious setbacks along the way.
Yeah, it's like those setbacks, they didn't stop them. In a way, they kind of fueled them, pushed them to be even more creative, more resilient.
Exactly. And I think for a lot of us, that's a really powerful message because we all face setbacks, right? It's just part of life.
Oh, absolutely. But I think the key takeaway here is that those setbacks, they don't have to define us.
Yeah. They don't have to be the end of the story.
In fact, they can actually be the beginning of something even greater.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm reminded of that quote. What is it? The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.
Ooh, I like that one.
And I think that really captures the essence of what we've been talking about today.
It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it, growing from it,
Yeah.
and using those experiences to propel ourselves forward.
Exactly. And so as you go about your week, I encourage you to keep that in mind, embrace those challenges,
Don't be afraid to stumble.
because it's in those moments of struggle and uncertainty that we often discover our greatest strengths.
And who knows, maybe your next setback will lead you to your greatest triumphs. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.